welcome back to Mini-Modelog. Obviously, Chris is with me this week, and we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing some D&D stuff. So this is to link up with, obviously, the Two Drunk Flings have got a D&D episode coming, where you've got them all doing their own voices, which I'm quite interested to hear. I've heard
It'll be funny.
I think Alan's got I think I was told that Alan had an Irish, Welsh, South American accent. I'm really looking forward to hearing it. But I was telling Chris about it, and he said, "Oh, I've got the Critical Role miniatures from Steamforged games," and I was like, "Well, what's that then?" I know what Critical Role is. Before anyone comments down below, I know what Critical Role is. It's obviously a bunch of people who play D&D on the internet. I've seen it advertised, seen it on YouTube and so forth. But I'm not a big D&D player. It's not something I play regularly. I tend to do one-off campaigns and things like that, just one day kind of hits on D&D. I mean, I like it. I just don't have the time to put myself into it, I suppose. It's the thing.
It's like getting into a TV show. You commit a lot of time and energy to it. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's kind of one of
those things I like to dabble in and not really kind of commit to as a game. I do a lot of that. If you've noticed in the different videos, I play a lot of different games and dabble in this and dabble in that. And of course, Blood Bowl's been my main thing. But back to Critical Role. So why were these miniatures produced? Because I know there's a story kind of behind them, that Steamforged, the sculptor did something and it moved on to something else, and then these suddenly arrived.
I think the easiest way to explain it is it all snowballed and started from one little fun, like almost fan-made thing by the sculptor, and that picked up steam. And then it's like, oh, I could do a lot of them now. And
so Critical Role is I think you describe. What did you describe it as?
The official description is a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors sitting around playing Dungeons and Dragons.
So, and you were telling me before that the voice actors are kind of people you would know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it just by looking at them, but it'd be people you'd recognise from like, oh, they did such and such a voice in a cartoon, or they did this computer game.
A bit like how you notice in Toy Story, there's always one guy who has the same, like a voice in all the Pixar movies. He's got a character in every Pixar movie, and it's usually like the truck.
Change his voice,
and he doesn't change his voice in the slightest. And you've noticed across about 20 movies, but he's in every single one.
sort of. Okay.
Well, better voice actors obviously who have done games, and you were saying so they've done everything: computer games, books, I imagine, audio books, things like that. Film.
No, I've not checked into all of them. I imagine. Sort of like credits.
So this is their. So they just play D&D together, and these are their characters, I suppose. These models are their characters. Is the best way to describe them.
Even the stars on the show, I call them stars. All the players on the show, they're surprised at how much popularity has grown from this. They still treat it as we used to sit around in our get together, play D&D and have a laugh. Oh my god, we now do it on the internet, and it's led to they're having their own animated show made.
What's interesting is, from a gamer's perspective, from my perspective, is I've noticed D&D since the 5th edition. Was it 5th edition, starter edition a little while ago, a couple of years ago? Since that edition, suddenly there's been multiple things come out from D&D, both fan-based kind of stuff, and then also kind of new campaigns, new books, a lot of stuff.
40k 8th edition.
Yeah.
How much easier has that made it for new players to come in?
Absolutely. So it's
D&D 5th has done the same.
It's interesting how there's been a massive resurgence. And like I say, I tend to dabble in this game. I don't. It's the kind of thing I play a one day campaign with a couple of friends, see where it goes, see who gets killed.
Normally you.
Normally me, because I normally try and start fighting with a inanimate object. So these are the characters that they created as part of the seasons, you were saying?
Yes.
Before?
So there are 2 boxes. The first one containing all of the characters, plus a few extras.
And that's that one.
First season, correct. And then the current season, which has the second box.
Right. And are they using the models at all themselves?
They have.
Do you know if they've just got? They've just started. So are they really excited about using their own personification model of?
Well,
kind of like them making a
at the start
person,
of each
and then
season anyway, they've always had some models. They had some stand-ins before these were
right. I see.
Made.
Right.
So they've always had their own mini. It's just now they've got something that is bespoke
for them.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And I'm guessing these are for fans of the show to
yeah,
buy and collect.
Basically, you can have these, include them in your own campaigns. You can, try and recreate certain aspects from the Tal'Dorei campaign with, the Vox Machina, or even have your own variation of. All right, yeah, I've made a. Like everybody is making monks at the moment. So here you go, I'm going to have Bo standing as my monk character, things like that.
Now I notice you've obviously opened them and had a look through them, but
more people have looked through these than I have.
Will you be painting these? What do you think? Or do you think you'd leave them as
these are
items that you wouldn't touch?
Nowhere near my painting list right now.
He's as bad as me, and as you guys know, my painting list is humongous. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know how big my painting list is.
Yeah, well,
you
mine's
know how
bigger.
much stuff
I've got more minis to paint.
He's worse. He is worse than me, because obviously some of the stuff you've seen in recent weeks actually belongs to him. So, you think my painting stuff's the amount of painting I've got to do is bad? I finished a team recently. Yeah. His is even
painted
worse.
2 teams, I painted none.
So, I was wondering if these would ever get to this. Are there something you would like to paint, though, eventually?
I've got these more as merchandise.
Merchandise fan.
I'm a fan. So I'm not dying to get these on the table and get them painted and use them.
No.
I'm happy
for them to sit in the box looking pretty.
And I will get to them eventually.
Right, well, talk about getting to them eventually. Let's get into the boxes. Let's give the public what they want. They want to see what these are up close. I know there's been some other unboxing videos. I've spotted a few on YouTube already, but I thought I'd bring these in because obviously it links up with our awesome Two Drunk Flings and the D&D episode. Remember to check all the things down below for all of that. You've got another box though, and he hasn't told me what's in this, so let's get unboxing.
You still won't know.
So we've spun the camera around, and that obviously took a couple of seconds, and we've got the first box. So this is the first campaign box, isn't it? This is the one where when they first started doing it. And I must admit, let's just take a look at the box to start with. I quite like it, to be fair. I quite like. Obviously, there's a big Critical Role symbol, so you know it's Critical Role. I quite like this.
The artwork is nice, yeah.
Where did that come from? Was that?
It's actually on the back of the box. I think it tells you who the artist is. Somewhere down here.
Somewhere in there. So if you want to really see, but I quite like it because it's got a very manga-esque anime feel.
The community who watch Community Roll, a lot of them are creative and they actually send in their own artwork. They send in fan art, which does actually get shown during the show.
Right, well there you go. I'm learning loads here. I quite like this. Quite like that paw print. Is there a reason? Obviously, probably the bear. I imagine.
I assume they've
come from.
They've put the paw print in for Trinket, who is the armoured bear, who is a companion of one of the characters in the game.
And the line, "How do you want to do this?" Is that a line from somebody or?
That's basically the DMs. Right, you've dealt enough damage. How do you actually want to do this?
Yeah. And then Vox Machina. What is that? The name of the campaign?
That was the name of the group.
Right, okay.
That was their adventuring name, essentially.
Interesting. Sort of
points. I think that came about before the show started on the internet. That was something if it didn't, then I'm not a huge, Critical Role fan. I just really enjoy it.
So, we'll get rid of the top. Now we've looked at the artwork, and then you're into the models. So obviously, you've got 8 models in this set, including an armoured bear. I know that. I know that's D&D. That's an armoured bear. That's obviously a barbarian of some description.
Correct. Keep going. Let's play this game. Right.
That's obviously a halfling or a dwarf.
No.
Okay. I'm not doing very well here straight away. I know what that one is because unfortunately I saw this one and someone told me what it was. So that's the tiefling, isn't it?
Nope.
Is that not a tiefling?
Nope.
Okay, I give up already. I'll hand over to Chris. Chris obviously knows more than me.
Again, the box itself. Standard how you'd imagine miniatures to arrive nowadays that have been pre-assembled. And it's a huge box for 8 minis.
It is, isn't it, really?
A little bit of wasted space. But that's me being critical of...
packaging.
Yes.
Well, I mean, when you compare that to the Guild Ball teams, I suppose there is a lot of wasted space because in the Guild Ball ones, they're pretty full.
There's player cards.
There's terrain
tokens,
pieces, and God knows what else. But here you've only got the minis and that's it. So
that's it.
8
Stats
minis.
come in the player handbooks. Any little extras you want, you've already got them on the side. Dice, there's no room for dice in these boxes. Maybe that could have been a thing. I don't know. But yeah, quite a lot of space for these boxes.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the whole thing is these minis. As we actually start with, see, this is why I wanted some extra stuff here for you.
There you go.
Grog. Now, in terms of the quality of these actual miniatures, I think they're actually fantastic. Now, if you think of plastic minis, you get those in board games. Now, this is more what these miniatures are aimed at. It's not your sort of, oh my god, these aren't as good as Games Workshop.
That classic line.
Yeah, it's why is there not this much detail? Why is such and such a thing missing or whatever? These are to be used like more as a pick up, use, play, put away.
Yeah.
People spend a lot of time painting armies and painting miniatures, and fair enough, if you've got that much skill to be able to do it and they look amazing, you want the best canvas.
Are there
to
any
work
online currently painted? Have you seen any pictures of these?
Tons
painted
of them.
at all? So I'll try and find some links for that and I'll pop it down below. But I quite like this armoured bear. I think that's a really nice model. You could use that for so many different things.
It is a chunky
That's a chunky
piece
bear.
of plastic. Now,
and again, like you were saying, the detail on the shoulder pads, if I can get close enough, you might be able to see that there's a little emblem on the shoulder pads. I mean, even down to that, you know, the sculpts are actually really nice.
Now this is where
as well.
We're going to start.
First time I've
into,
looked at them, to be fair.
You keep picking them up and keep
I
having
will.
a look.
I will keep having a look.
Because
Bring
this
them
is where
up
we're going to get
camera.
into. Some people have had issue with a few models, maybe one from one box and one from another.
Right.
I think a lot of people have been very critical on the quality, as I said. They're expecting Games Workshop kind of level.
Do you think Games Workshop in a way has made it difficult for other miniatures creators?
Yes.
In plastic in particular? Because
Yes.
I mean, I am very much, again, I collect a lot of Games Workshop games, and I must admit the plastics they're producing now, I mean, we've both been playing games for a long time, and we remember the old
This is why
single-pose plastics.
A lot of independent, like third-party companies now create in resin or metal. Metal is, kind of a nostalgia thing. A lot of people have started moving away from it and going towards resin because you can get a higher quality, like more detail in the resin models, but it's more costly.
And it's bendy. The thing I don't like about resin is the bendiness of it. Some of the models I've seen are
try bend the bow a bit. It's plastic. It's plastic.
Oh, it's got a bit of bend. Very careful there.
So basically, with all of these, as I've looked at them, I've also compared them to D&D has the Nolzur's miniatures. Right. So those are, again, unpainted plastic minis that you can use for certain characters. With these, for example, if I try and get as close as I can, okay, Keylif's head to basically her neck, you can see there is a separation.
Yeah.
But you imagine trying to pull this as one piece out of a mould.
It's not going to happen, is it? The head will come off.
It's very difficult to get all of the detail. I mean, even on the hand, you've still got more detail than some of the official line miniatures, which is why I'm very, very impressed with these. There are certain bits where the mould line is more visible. I don't know if you'll be able to pick that out there. But you find me a miniature where there isn't a mould line.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm constantly still clearing up GW models. Even that's part of, for me, that if that ever became not part of putting a model together, I'd be concerned. I'd wonder what the trick was, because I think no matter what model I've had, whether it's been Guild Ball, whether it's been G-Dubs, Blood Bowl,
now
whatever
both
it
of
is.
These, they're both gnomes.
Right.
So you were close.
I was close. Oh, come on, I was close with halflings.
So they're two of the
Halflings, gnomes.
smallest minis. And still, check out the detail in them.
Here's an idea. Here's a halfling mini from Games Workshop. And there's that one. It's just for scale.
So you got Pike and Scanlan, who are the two smallest members in the first campaign. And again, the amount of detail that's in it.
So
I'm genuinely impressed.
for the size, when you compare it to obviously this model here,
which has got tremendous amounts of detail. I mean, you guys saw my unboxing for the halflings. If you haven't, be up in the corner in a minute. But when you consider the detail in this, and it's a lot thinner, a lot like the arms and detail in the hands, it's a smaller surface area, and obviously detailing something that small must be really quite difficult.
The halfling is more like a caricature. It's
Yes.
exaggerated certain features, but these they've tried to keep it like more realistic, more proportioned.
More
Russ has done a
proportioned.
really good job on these.
So that's
It's not just Russ, by the way.
That's set 1. So we'll move on to set 2, because obviously we're going to try and show you as much of them as we can while we talk, because obviously for you guys you want to see the minis. But that's set 1, so that was the first campaign, and that's the back of the box, so you can see even more larger versions, renders of the minis, plus full list and all the legal bump and who painted what. So that's set 1.
Before we go on to set 2.
Oh, so this, I'm getting to see what's in the box, people. What's in the box?
Oh, actually, yeah, this does. Now you see, I was thinking this was going to be in between campaign 1 and 2, and it technically contains
what are
stuff
these?
from both. Because I bought these via the Kickstarter, these were the exclusives.
Oh, so these are Kickstarter exclusives from Steamforged, and I'm guessing these are only available through the Kickstarter. They're not going to mass
As far as I'm
produce
aware,
these.
these were literally. You'd like to think it's the Kickstarter exclusive. That's the only way you're going to get them.
Yes,
Now,
but
these are a couple of extra characters who you've picked up there, and this guy, Tarion and Doty.
that's amazing. Look
These-
at the quality on that for such a small model. I mean, I imagine that scabbard pings a little bit. Yeah, it pings a little bit, but that's amazing. I really like that model.
Wait until you see the quill.
Oh Jesus! So are these extra kind of characters that were in their campaign when they did it then?
What they've kind of done is one of the characters, spoilers for anyone who's not watched it, one of the characters kind of goes off and has a...
Mini adventure on his own?
No, he can't... I'm not sure what Sam was doing with him. But he
Catastrophe?
kind of goes off and he has a different character. He controls Tarion. And Doty is his
Right.
almost like mechanical manservant.
What are these guys?
These are from campaign 2. These are Pumat Soul. Basically, you should have 3 models that look practically the same and 1 who is Pumat Prime.
Oh right, I see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to spot which is which, but
He has essentially magical duplicates of himself to help around his shop.
right, I see.
I think
They do variably look the same. There
that should be Prime.
That one should be down a bit. So that should be Prime, and then they should be his kind of
They are just these
alter
duplicates.
egos, duplicates. So they were Kickstarter exclusive. So
Yes.
unfortunately you won't be able to buy those, but of course it's nice to see what was available at Kickstarter.
Yes.
Whether they'll become available eventually, we don't know, but
At some point they will. I mean,
I imagine so.
they
depending on
have more
success.
and more. They're already selling extra characters from the campaign, which have been
Right.
sort of like in a build-up on release to this. Oh, sorry, you'll actually want to see the front of this as well.
Yeah.
But and this is box 2.
So this is box 2. This is from what would be their season 2, effectively.
This
of
is
Critical.
current.
So this is still. So is that currently still going on?
Yes.
Right.
Campaign 2 is still running. One of the characters here is no longer in the game.
No longer alive, or just? Oh, okay.
No longer alive.
Dead character. Okay. So why do we think the sword this time? Is that because one of the characters is a knight or something similar? Because each one has obviously these emblems, which obviously you saw the claw before. So I'm just wondering why the sword this time.
For
Any
this
guesses?
one, honestly, I think this one's. I'd link it to Ford, who,
Okay.
but it could also be linked. There's a few characters who are
Questionable.
sword wielding, but
Again, cool artwork. Maybe I don't know if that's done by the same guy, but it's very anime in style. Back,
Ooh,
you've got
very
you've got the renders again, and you've got the list of the 8 guys, and obviously all of the 0 to 3 years. And this one's called the Mighty 9.
Yep.
German spelling of 9.
Yep.
Okay, if that makes you happy.
Zimnium.
So we'll open the box up and get straight into them. If I can get this box off, I can. Look at that. Again, same thing, isn't it? It's another quite large, substantial sized box, and a lot of. It's like you say. Would it have been nice to have some D&D dice scattered like a D20 or to go with it? It's kind of,
you kind of wonder, is there just
could they gone a bit smaller?
do they need all the space on the box just to get all the details on? Is that why they've gone this size?
Maybe.
It's a pointless.
Who knows?
It's a pointless little criticism.
Then again, there's that whole thing of some models for James Workshops come in one box. Yeah, they're not exactly big. Not that many components. You get the similar kind of thing.
Oh, Forge World boxes.
Yes, there's a prime example. That's a good example of Forge World. Here's where I can't get the plastic off. Yeah, there we go.
So, this is the one box I actually had an issue with.
Why did you have an issue with it? What was wrong with it? Or what? Yeah.
It has been rectified now.
Okay.
But my Yasha, when she turned up, as you looked in profile, you won't probably be able to see much here, but her nose hadn't quite formed in the mould.
Oh, right. So it's kind of like flat or
Yes.
or kind of broken off. Which?
It was flatter.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So it's... Again, I come from a design background, so there's a little criticism I have with the box art on the front. Obviously, I've spotted this miniature and thought, I'm not too happy with that. But as I said, it has been rectified. Customer service has very...
10 out of 10? Ish?
Go on, I'll give them 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Well, they replaced the Mini, which,
Yes.
is what you wanted.
We've had this with Guild Ball as well in the past.
Yeah, we have.
If a piece has been missing or, they have been on form and got it out to you as soon as possible, free of charge. Now, again, if you follow the blogs for these minis, they're actually telling you how, during the design process, certain aspects have changed, little bits have had to be moved, or it's just in order to make the moulding better, they may have pulled in arms closer to the body. So there's no, overhangs or little vacuum bits, essentially. Bo in particular, if you look at where her arm is on her hip, that'd be very difficult in the mould.
So that would have been put on probably afterwards, wouldn't it? Separate moulds. And
I've not had a look close enough. I'll grab it off you in a second.
There you go. I'll keep bringing these up to camera so you guys can see them. I know I'm not using my spin table to do these, and I would normally do spin table, but with both of us here, I thought I'd do it this way. Hope you guys are liking this unboxing. Do remember to check out my other ones.
That is all one piece.
Really?
That is one piece.
Well, there you go.
They've done a fantastic job with these. Now, at first, obviously, the very first miniatures I got were some of the resin limited edition ones. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh my god, if the plastics turn up like this, I'm absolutely sold. I want everything they're going to produce. The plastics aren't quite as detailed as the resin, which you'd expect.
You're gonna get that.
As I said, I've settled down and I've come to this thinking, oh my god, these aren't tabletop miniatures. They're not as good as some games I've seen out there. And it's actually, I'm judging them very harshly by very high standards.
Yeah.
If you think these remind me of Blood Rage. I don't know if you've seen the
miniatures.
Yes,
I've played Blood Rage. I've seen the miniatures for that. I'll pop a link down below for Blood Rage if you haven't played it. It's a great game.
They're very similar.
A lot
of small detail.
I must admit that they do have that same feel to them as the Blood Rage
Malifaux
models.
has got a very similar kind of scale to this.
Yeah, but with Malifaux, it's you. A lot of their models you put together, so there is that aspect of
they're not pre-assembled.
Not pre-assembled, so there is that kind of model. So in a way, I'm less upset if a Malifaux model has mould lines because I'd expect it to have mould lines because I'm getting it on sprue. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm getting it pre-assembled, I expect all that mould line stuff to be done for me. So that would be my argument there with the mould line side of it, because
think of how many they may have produced.
Well, yeah, there is that argument.
Nobody's going to be sat there taking all the mould off.
Sat with their little moulding tool just for me. But that's kind of where I come from with it. But I do know where you're making the connection with Blood Rage. The models are very similar.
Yes.
Do have that very similar feel, very similar. I wouldn't say brittle, but that very sort of a lot thinner, not so bulky, and as you saw when we compared it next to the Games Workshop model, it's even some of their what I would call normal standard human models would be a lot bulkier than these.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So, and that's the thing I think with Games Workshop moving into 3D rendering to begin with on computer and then 3D printing. I know that they 3D print up to 3+ these days. I think they can afford to get much more detail in it because they've got the process nailed down a lot more. I mean, a lot of other companies don't necessarily have the ability in-house to do what Games Workshop do.
Now, there's little bits like the bottom of Shikosta's cloak that he's got there. You just think, that is that like looks almost like they've snapped it off, or it's more. I mean, that is definitely two parts. You can see where the cloak and the head have been stuck onto the body there.
But one thing I'll say about that with the cloak is that you probably wouldn't notice that snap line once it's painted because it disappear in paint. People have apparently already been complaining about certain things, like I pointed out in the previous box. Keylif's head, it joins at the neck onto the body, and I'm the sort of person where actually I've had Games Workshop models which have got bigger gaps. Yeah. I fill in with green stuff or anything else. I think it depends the level of modeler you're at. It would be my view on that, because some modelers would be like, right, I'll just get the green stuff, I'll fill the gap, no problem. Not like you're pretty au fait with gap filling. I've got into it in the last 12 months, whereas before I'd probably leave the gap. And in some ways, sometimes the gap does kind of make sense if it's under an armpit or something, because then, that's okay. But I get where you're coming from. There's that whole thing of, because these are more, I think, this is my opinion, pushed towards a fan ideal. Mm-hmm. You're going to get those people who aren't miniature gamers. So you're going to get those fans that want them to look nice. And we'll get them out of the box and go, oh, I can see this. I also think
this is why I mentioned the Nolzur's miniatures from D&D, like from Wizards themselves.
Yeah.
Or is it WizKids? Well. Basically, these are of the same standard, but a lot higher, actually. And I think most people won't notice.
Yeah.
It's only when these people like, ourselves, we've got
long-time gamers.
We've had a look at this other stuff and it's not as good. And
so, if you were going to say to someone who was interested in them and haven't bought them yet, how would you say yes to get them in a way? If someone came to you and said, I'm interested in Critical Role D&D because I'm a fan, I want to buy them as a fan.
I'd double check with the Steamforged website. Basically go from there and see what's already available on the website.
We'll pop links down below for all of this, by the way, so you can get links for all.
Obviously, these were the Kickstarter ones, so they've all been fulfilled a few weeks ago.
Right. Do you know if they're bringing them to public sale at any point?
They would be stupid not to.
Fair enough. There we go. So I'll pop links down below for Steamforged, and keep an eye on Steamforged website. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. I know it was a little different compared to some of the unboxings I normally do. Do check all of the links down in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see Chris again in future on the channel. Thanks for bringing him, Chris. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you guys next time.